everyone. So I hope you guys had a good lunch. Otherwise, our panel discussion, I hopefully, we won't make you feel too much hungry. With me today, we have Roger from Singapore, RedMart, and Lucas from Shanghai, China, for WaimaiChaoren delivery hero. And for those who come outside the region, maybe we can just give Roger and Lucas a chance to briefly elaborate a little bit more on your business.
Sure.
Roger.
Hi everyone, Roger Egan, co-founder and CEO of RedMart. We are a Singapore-based online supermarket with ambitions to become an everything store. We do all of our own warehousing and last mile logistics to deliver happiness to our customers.
Great. Hi everyone, I'm Lucas Englehardt from WaimaiChaoren based in Shanghai. We're a platform for ordering restaurant delivery, specifically targeted at Chinese white-collar staff. So we're active in 18 cities. We work with over 15,000 restaurants and very much a local Chinese company, although you might not guess it looking at me. I'm the only foreigner out of more than 300 staff.
Thank you. So actually, we all know food is quite a big culture in Asia. All the Asian people really love food. They go for all kinds of different food. And but it's not easy to run a food delivery business, given cost is certainly one of the top concerns. I think you both will face. If we talk about labor cost, logistics, and you need space for storage. Shanghai is not a cheap city, and Singapore isn't either. How can you deal with challenges like rising costs in labor, logistics, everything? In the meantime, you can still keep a reasonable profit margin.
Sure. So the online grocery business is one of the most difficult in e-commerce because we have many more items per order than other e-commerce categories. So we have about 30 compared to an average at Amazon, which is 1.4 items per order. So picking and packing and the efficiency at which you do that at scale is much more important to us than it is to another e-commerce company. It forces us to create better technology, more efficient fulfillment, and last mile delivery. So the important things for us to keep costs down were to come up with innovative ways to get more delivery density and also deliver our fresh products in a new way. So we're the first in the world to not use refrigerated trucks, which is a huge cost in the online grocery business. Sure. We figured out a way to use this technology called eutectic plates, which are recyclable, so we save money there. And we also, tried to increase delivery density by actually influencing our customers to choose delivery slots where our trucks are already going. So we know everyone who's ordered before you, and we know all of their addresses. So we know when we're going to be at your building, and then we can, when you're choosing a delivery slot, we can influence you by giving you maybe a few dollars off to choose a slot
Sure.
that actually works better for us, and we save a lot of money.
Too, yeah. Lucas.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. I mean, for the time being, the cost of couriers in China is cheaper than a lot of other markets, but it is something that's rising. But I think that the convenience that delivery offers outweighs that cost. And as you see, as people are willing to pay more as a premium for faster and faster service, originally it was 3 days, the next day, now same day, and really we're completely on delivery, on demand. That's something people are still want. And so we're looking at going from a 45-minute delivery time to a 30-minute delivery time to a 15-minute delivery time. What we see is a changing evolution of the restaurant and the kitchen market because as delivery becomes a larger share of their orders, they don't need such a large footprint. They don't need to have so many tables in the restaurant, and so those cost savings can be passed on, and passed over to the delivery side.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
And we also hear, some views and opinions from the industry that the food delivery business, is pretty, easy to be copied or cloned, by, if I know in Shanghai, Baidu, Alibaba, everybody try to get into the business, and because they are big money, so they can just merge all the things. Are you worried about whether the market is too crowded, and how can you dealing with those? Maybe copycat is not the right word, but you will definitely deal with those problems, right?
Sure. So the restaurant delivery space in China is extremely hot right now. As you mentioned, we compete directly with Baidu, Alibaba, startups funded by Tencent, et cetera. For me, it's still about nailing the basic experience. does our platform provide the transparency into deciding, the quality of the food, the speed of delivery, the price, and each customer can choose according to their circumstance. Not everyone has the same tastes, and also, depending if you're ordering lunch in the office or you're having a casual dinner at home, maybe you have different time constraints or cost constraints. Sure. I think that when I look at the Chinese market, including ourselves, no one has nailed it completely, and a lot of companies are simply just trying to use price as a driver to grow. There's huge coupons, customers are getting, paying half price just to get their food, and in the short term that drives a lot of orders, but that also creates a sense that it's just quick and dirty.
But is that sustainable?
Building on what Lucas just said, we were talking about this backstage. This is a very logistics and operations heavy business. It's not easy to deliver hot food within 30 minutes and get that experience right every time. So you have a lot of internet companies that are trying to get into the space, but physical logistics is a different business that is very challenging.
Even Uber tried to do it in New York.
Yeah, but I think that these companies find that delivering products is different than delivering people. And it's actually a lot more challenging. You have to integrate with the restaurants. You have to keep the supply chain. For him, it's keeping food hot. For me, it's keeping food, ice cream cold when I'm delivering and stuff. It's not easy. So I think people who crack it have a significant kind of competitive advantage, and there's like pretty big barriers to entry in this business, because getting that right is not easy at all.
Yeah, right. Yeah. I was just talking with the two gentlemen back to the stage, and then Roger mentioned that actually McDonald's in Singapore is one of the largest e-commerce companies, right? Could you elaborate a bit on that? How internet and technology changes the food business?
So McDonald's has, from what we understand, 300,000 orders a month in Singapore, which is pretty big online. So they're one of the largest e-commerce companies, and they actually have their own fleet of delivery guys and stuff like that. So they're proving that if you can crack the logistics side of it, there's a huge demand there, and that's what both of our companies are trying to do.
And Lucas, do you consider McDonald's and KFC one of your competitors, or you think Chinese people may go beyond that?
Yeah, we consider them actually a potential partner. And for me, we were talking that restaurant delivery traditionally has just been the quick and fast food, just needs to fill up your stomach. But more and more we see it's expanding beyond that. So it's higher quality options, healthier options. I think we were talking about how hot the markets can be. It's interesting, the comparison to Uber and then the taxi booking in China that's extremely hot. Probably the only market that right now is hotter than ours. Also, we look back a couple years ago, the Groupon space was extremely, extremely hot. But it wasn't necessarily the companies that spent the most money and did the most advertisements that won. I think it comes down to having a reliable experience. And so I'm very interested to see in a couple of years from now, who's still there. More and more we see the government is paying attention to food cleanliness and the restaurant cleanliness, and this is something we've really tried to take the initiative on to be a leader in, to work with restaurants that are properly licensed and have high quality standards. That's something that can't be said about our competitors, even the big BAT funded companies.
Just to actually, this is a really great point. We talk about Uber and the regulatory challenges you mentioned. Uber certainly faces a lot of regulatory challenges in China, elsewhere in the world. How do you consider, if cost is one of the top concerns, do you see there's also a policy risk, in particular for food delivery business in China? And I think Singapore, I'm not sure if Roger also consider this as a potential risk for business expansion. When you talk about, the food safety, and there are different agencies involved in the business now, the health authority, the MII, and other things.
Yeah, so we have a very direct dialogue with the government. This past week we were with the Chinese government, with the Shanghai government, with all the other major players. And they've actually called us out and said we're one of the companies that are doing a much better job in terms of providing transparency. So simple things like posting the restaurant's license, the business license, their cleanliness license, that's posted on the website. People can see that and check it. We post the restaurant address. I mean, you have problems with Heitanting or the black restaurants where people are just running out of their apartment. Those are restaurants that we don't work with, but you're right that they often do provide a cheaper product. It's obviously the cheaper rent.
Actually, sometimes those Heitanting, the dark restaurant, they do provide a pretty delicious food.
Yeah, they have to have a pretty good product, right? Otherwise, people won't order them again. They don't have the storefront to get the foot traffic. But you know, I think in the long run, it needs to be a cleanliness issue, and online, as I mentioned, we're trying to provide transparency, and we can help you know to support the government in that sense.
Yeah, Roger, what do you see the Singaporean government's approach?
Actually, Singapore is a pretty easy place to do business. You know, we don't have a lot of difficulties with government regulations and things. They keep the standards up high, and you just, you know, go by the rules, and it works out. One thing I wanted to bring up, you know, I think what's really interesting in our space is the evolution of food consumption, and that, you know, I think there's a trend towards convenience and health consciousness, which is kind of helping businesses like ours. So, you know, it started off with people going to the grocery store, then the grocery store came to them. We do meal kits now where it's prepared recipes with pre-portioned ingredients that makes it easy to cook. You don't have to think about where you're cooking. And then the ultimate is hot food delivery, which Lucas is doing. So it's interesting that it's moving more towards that convenience and health consciousness. People want to know what are they eating sometimes, and like what is in the ingredients. So.
Sure. Let's also talk a little bit about your next chapter. You know, how will you expand your business? Because, you know, you two are pretty successful startups, but, you know, every startup faces the same question: how you can scale up your business. You know, I know Roger, your business so far is still limited in Singapore, right? And then Lucas, you have like around
18 cities,
18 city coverage. So what is the next step? Do you want to expand outside the country to the region, or?
Sure. So we want to both expand in product categories and internationally as well. I can't disclose which country's next, but it will happen soon, and we'll disclose it. But we think groceries is the best platform for becoming the everything store, because it has significant advantages over other categories. The first is that, you know, we have very high touch points with the customer since you order groceries pretty frequently. And the second is, you know, we have a lot of delivery density, and we're already going to a lot of people's houses. So adding other product categories into our trucks is fairly easy. So us going into other product categories is easier than another e-commerce company trying to go into groceries. So we're trying to leverage that platform that way.
Lucas,
yeah, so currently we're not looking to expand beyond our base that we have in China. We're covering all the first and second tier cities at the moment. And we're looking to simply go deeper in those cities and add more CBDs or more districts, and also to add higher end restaurants. So this year we have a new initiative where we have our own couriers that can provide delivery for restaurants that don't have that in-house. And so, as I mentioned, we see the trend going more and more upscale, and also being health conscious or different, more authentic food, etc. Yeah.
Okay. I definitely saved the last question as a burning question for both of you. There are a lot of talks about O2O. It's almost like everything can be O2O. You know, I heard a joke in Shanghai. The grandma selling the pancake in the street. If you set up an app for her, she's doing an O2O business. I mean, do you think there's a certain level of bubble in O2O? Or I think food delivery is one type of O2O that everybody can easily understand, right?
So, I mean, I think it gets overhyped. It's like, there's offline companies going online and online companies going offline. I think people will eventually, maybe in 3 years, just call it retail again. And like, everyone will do both, right? It's omni-channel, and there won't be e-commerce companies and retail companies or brick and mortar. It's just you have to kind of have an online and offline experience. So for us, we think about it. I think e-commerce companies can reinvent the offline experience to make it more of an experiential, a great experience. And for example, we can have a pop-up store. Maybe we'll invite like a chef to cook some food or one of our meal kits and let customers try it. Because the thing that you have a disadvantage on if you're pure online is that you don't have that kind of touch point in that physical environment. But you can do it through these pop-up stores. We have click and collect points. So we actually just installed our delivery lockers in Google's offices in Singapore. So the Googlers can get their groceries delivered right to their, their locker in the office, just making it more convenient for them. So it's all about providing convenience to the customer, whether it's online or offline. I think it doesn't matter.
Lucas?
Yeah, I'd say that I agree completely that this modernization of the offline world is happening, and we shouldn't think that it's a war against the two. I mean, wouldn't it be great if you had a local warehouse in your neighborhood that also had a kitchen that could cook and deliver to you? Yeah, that's called a restaurant. We have that, and we just need to connect them and bring it online. So O2O in China, I believe, is becoming a bit of a bubble. This is an overused buzzword. I recently gave a talk that I was talking about, actually, that we should call it M2M, which is mobile to mobile. This is actually much better. But the buzzwords don't matter. I think that's how entrepreneurs and businesses try to fulfill the user's needs. At the end of the day, are the customers satisfied? Is this a product that they enjoy and they want to continue to use? And I think that you'll see certain verticals that will be sustainable. Food delivery is definitely one of them. I think transportation, taxi booking is another one. But a lot of these mini niche verticals where you can say, you know, I won't give examples, but very, very niche on-demand services to your home probably won't be sustainable independently. They'll have to be rolled up to a larger platform.
Thanks. Thank you very much, and also thank you, you know, our audience for your time. You know, for those who coming outside Hong Kong, I really hope tonight you don't call your room service, you know, hotel or food delivery. You should really explore, you know, the restaurants around the conference center. You know, Hong Kong is such a food paradise.
Or order WaimaiChaoren from Guangzhou.
Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thanks.